My name is the Archivist. The year is 2025. My function is to analyze the anatomy of a perfect crime. But what happens when the cause of death is not a weapon, not a poison, but beauty itself? Today, we open a file that lies at the intersection of creation and destruction, a case where the very act of achieving one's masterpiece was a death sentence. Welcome back to the archive. This is file number 921, The Bloom of Silence. Our story begins with a poet, a man named Marcus Thorne, found dead in his study. The scene was peaceful. He was slumped in his armchair, a book of Rilke resting on his lap. The official coroner's report was swift, a fatal stroke. He was 55, a heavy smoker. Case closed. But Detective Isabelle Varga, the first officer on the scene, noted one strange detail. On his desk, in a simple glass vase, was a flower unlike any she had ever seen. It was jet black, its petals carved with the geometric precision of obsidian, and from its center grew a single, vibrant pistil of an impossible, electric violet. It seemed to absorb the light in the room. The poet's family had no idea where it came from. It was cataloged as an irrelevant, if beautiful, anomaly. A month later, the anomaly became a pattern. A brilliant young cellist, Alara Vance, was found in her practice room, her bow still resting on the strings of her cello. She had died, according to the Emmy, from a sudden, massive heart attack. On her music stand, next to a newly completed, breathtakingly complex sonata, sat the exact same kind of impossible black flower. Now, Varga had a case. Two healthy, creative people, dead from seemingly natural causes, linked only by the presence of a flower that no botanist on Earth could identify. The media got wind of the story, christening the phantom killer the Florist. Panic and a morbid fascination gripped the city. Varga's investigation hit a wall. There was no forensic link between the victims. No toxins. No signs of entry. No human DNA on the flowers. The killer left no trace because, as far as the evidence was concerned, there was no killer. This is where the file came to my archive. I do not investigate crime scenes. I dissect the data they leave behind. While Detective Varga was searching for a person, I began to analyze the victims. I ran a deep data composite of their lives in the weeks leading up to their deaths. I analyzed their digital footprints, their medical records, their creative output. And under the surface, I found the true pattern. In the month before he died, Marcus Thorne, a poet who had been suffering from writer's block for years, suddenly wrote his magnum opus, a collection of sonnets so profound it was being hailed as a masterpiece. In the month before she died, Alara Vance, a talented but inconsistent musician, composed a cello sonata of such impossible complexity and beauty that it was considered revolutionary. It was the same for the third victim, a sculptor who had carved a breathtaking statue just before his own peaceful death, the same black flower at its base. The flower was not a calling card left after the masterpiece was created. I hypothesized it was the catalyst for it. I ran a neurological analysis based on ambient medical data collected from their smart devices. In their final weeks, each victim's brain showed a unique and extreme state of hyperstimulation in the regions associated with creative thought. They were not just inspired. Their minds were on fire. They were burning themselves out, creating at a pace their own biology could not sustain. The flower wasn't a weapon of murder. It was a symbiotic parasite that pushed its host to a moment of pure, transcendent genius, and the price of that genius was their life. The strokes and heart attacks weren't a cause. They were a symptom of a mind that had simply burned too brightly. I sent my findings to Detective Varga through an anonymous, encrypted channel, signing it simply, a fellow archivist. The theory was insane, but it was the only one that fit the facts. It changed her investigation entirely. She was no longer looking for a killer who visited the victims. She was looking for the source of the flowers. The trail was digital and faint, but Varga was relentless. She discovered that all three victims, shortly before their creative bursts, had purchased rare orchids from the same online seller. The seller was a reclusive, eccentric botanist named Dr. Alistair Finch, who lived in a massive, private conservatory on the outskirts of the city. Varga and her team raided the conservatory. It was a humid, glass jungle filled with the most exotic and beautiful plants on Earth. And in a small, temperature-controlled chamber at its heart, they found hundreds of the impossible black flowers, their violet hearts pulsing faintly in the dim light. And with them was Dr. Finch himself. He was not a man who looked like a killer. He was old, frail, and his eyes held a look of profound, otherworldly peace. He didn't deny anything. "I am not a murderer, detective," he said, his voice a soft rustle of leaves. "I am a gardener." He explained that he had discovered a single, strange seed years ago, recovered from the heart of a meteorite. He had spent his life learning to cultivate it. He believed the flower, which he called Silene nocturna, was a gift, a symbiotic partner that sought out the most creative, brilliant minds. It would form a bond, unlocking the host's full, unbridled potential, allowing them to create their one, true masterpiece. The death, he explained, was a peaceful side effect, a gentle release, after the fire of creation had been exhausted. He saw himself as a benefactor, a man who helped geniuses touch divinity, if only for a moment. Varga moved to arrest him. "You may not call it murder, doctor," she said, "but the law will." Finch simply smiled, a serene, tired expression on his face. The law is a human concept. The flower operates on a different plane. He gestured to a single, perfect bloom on the table next to him, larger and more vibrant than any of the others. "It has been so lonely since my wife, a painter, passed away. But recently, I began to have an idea for a poem, a truly magnificent one." As he spoke, he looked at the flower. His eyes glazed over.
Galaxy
He took
or
a single,
ocean?
peaceful breath, and then collapsed to the floor, a gentle smile on his lips. He had become the final
Rainbow
recipient
or
of his
diamond?
own terrible gift. The case of the florist was closed. The official cause of death for all victims,
Jungle
including Dr.
or
Finch,
space?
remained natural causes. The flowers were confiscated and classified, their true nature a secret
Lava
buried
or
in file.
ice?
The case reminds us that a crime is simply a question without an answer. But sometimes the answer is not a person. Sometimes the answer is a beautiful, impossible, and hungry idea. The anatomy of this crime wasn't one of violence, but of creation itself. And so, the file on the florist is officially closed. But the questions it leaves behind continue to bloom in the dark of the archive. Is a gift that kills still a gift? Is a moment of transcendent genius worth the price of a life? Dr. Finch believed so. The law would call him a monster. This archive makes no such judgments. We only present the anatomy of the event, leaving the final verdict to you. These are the kinds of cases you will find in our collection. Stories that challenge the line between right and wrong, sanity and madness, creation and destruction. We dissect the truth, but the moral of the story is yours to find. We invite you to share your own theories on this file in the comments below. Was Dr. Finch a benevolent gardener or a negligent killer? We read every analysis. If this story sparked your curiosity and made you look deeper beneath the surface, show your support for our work with a like. It lets us know that these forgotten stories have found a new mind to inhabit. And finally, to ensure you have access to the next file we unseal from the archives, be sure to subscribe to the Marrow files and activate the notification bell. There are always more secrets waiting to be deconstructed. A final important note: the story you have just heard, including all characters and events, is a complete work of fiction. The accompanying visuals of satisfying deconstruction are thematically paired with our narrative to create a unique, meditative experience. This channel and all its content are created for your entertainment and to explore the worlds of imagination. Thank you for your time. The archive is now closed.